And I was talking to her about where it might be. And she was like, wait, remind me when you traveled. And I was like, oh, I got in yesterday. And she's like, your bag wouldn't be down here. She goes, these are all the bags
Awesome.
we've had for like over 145 days.
Quinn, I would have taken so much stuff. Like, this is crazy. I'm trying to fly there and pretend I lost something.
No, Becky, you could go shopping. Oh my God.
Manic
Pixie.
Jump Scare. Hosted by Quinn Murphy
And Becca Hobart.
Hi,
Hi,
we're
we're
Quinn.
Quinn and
And
we're Becca.
Rebecca.
And welcome to Manic Pixie Jump Scare, a podcast where where Becca and I talk openly about our shared delusions
Passions
and
love.
love for each other. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
Quinn, back
Yes.
at it. It's
I
been so
know.
long
I know.
for us,
It has not
not
been
so
a
much for
long
the
time.
listeners.
Yeah, it has not been a long time
Yeah.
for the viewers, and that is all by design.
Yeah. We have fragmented your reality.
Yes. And so you guys have been hearing the podcast like there's no big difference in
Disruption.
Becca and
Yeah.
I's lives. Like there's nothing going on really. But we have not actually recorded for close to a month. Or no,
Wow, that's crazy.
like a regular episode we haven't recorded for close to a month.
Yeah.
Definitely like 3 weeks. But
Mhm.
yeah.
It's crazy
Yes.
because, I mean, the reason is because Quinn, you've kind of been not in America lately.
I guess you could say that, yeah.
Yeah, you've been actually so many places, and it's actually fascinating to me because I've actually been in Pennsylvania this whole time, and I hadn't realized the extent to which your journey would be. Like you are so many places just already.
Mm-hmm.
I first want to know, well, I want to know everything about this time that we haven't communicated in, really. I mean, every
Uh-huh.
once in a while, but not crazy.
Yes.
Um, I want to know like everywhere you've been, because also I need to know this, like, so you're with a solo travel group, right?
So I'll take you back to the beginning.
Yeah, please
So
do.
I left the United States. I'm pulling up a calendar
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
I left the United States on September 2nd, or at least I was
Okay.
scheduled to. Yeah, my journey was supposed to start on September 2nd, which was
Mm-hmm.
a Friday. So my first kind of foray is I was doing a solo travel like group, which takes a bunch of solo
Mm-hmm.
travelers and makes it so they can like travel in a group together, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I first did that in Greece. So Greece was my first stop.
Okay.
So like a couple months ago, when I was looking for my flight to Greece, I live like between BWI and Philadelphia Airport, like at home.
Mm-hmm.
And BWI is Baltimore, for those of you who don't know. Philadelphia is definitely closer.
Mm-hmm.
But like I just checked BWI and the flights were like significantly cheaper. And
Gotcha.
so I booked out of BWI. And so the day has come. I'm stressed the fuck out because I'm about to leave the country for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom drives me to the airport. And then I go to the airport. I like get through security, all that kind of stuff. And I go to the gate. And my flight was supposed to take off I was supposed to fly from Baltimore to Boston and then Boston to Athens, Greece.
Mm-hmm.
And so my first flight was supposed to take off at 4:20. And so,
Rock on.
yeah, rock one exactly.
Okay, nice.
And and so my first flight starts to get delayed. But literally they start to board people like before, and then they're like, oh guys, actually we're delaying the flight. Like people were literally seated on the flight, not me yet, but like some people were. And then they were like,
Yeah.
oh no, just kidding, guys. You have to come off the plane now, actually.
Yeah.
And so that really should have been my first sign that things were about to go wrong.
Awry. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so we go and the flight's delayed, but I'm not freaking out about it because the flight to Boston's like from BWI is like maybe an hour and a half, like up and down. And so like I was like, oh, I have plenty of time because my flight to Athens wasn't taking off until like 11 at night.
Yeah.
And so I'm cool as a cucumber. And so I like go have dinner. Oh my God. And then that dinner was also like topsy-turvy because I ordered a beer. Because I was like, vacation started. And so then I ordered like food too, because I was hungry. And then it had been like 20 minutes and I hadn't gotten my food. And I was like, okay. And so then these people came up to the bar and they were like, oh, can we like sit? And the bartender was like, yeah, but just so you know, our kitchen is closed right now.
Oh.
And she said that after I had like ordered. And so like then I got her and I was like, so I know you said the kitchen's closed, but am I still gonna like get my food that I ordered? And she was like, oh yeah. And so then she has to literally like go and get someone because nobody's in the kitchen for some reason. Also, it's like 6 o'clock by this point. Like they had closed their kitchen at like 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And so she's like, oh, let me go and get, you know, one of the cooks. And so
clock him back in.
let me bring her back actually. Yeah. And so she does that and I got the and so she made sure like the tacos were like made for me and stuff. And then off that whole situation, the tacos got comped and then I got an extra free beer. And so the whole meal ended up being like $8. And so I was like,
okay, slay.
So I was like, I can't stop winning at this point, actually, basically.
Literally.
And so then I go back to the gate and there is literally, this was kind of a cruel joke too. There's like 2 gates right next to each other. The gate right next to mine has a flight that has taken off to Boston already. like
Cruel.
Like a
That's
flight
so
that like
mean.
boarded after ours, but ours is delayed like even more at this point. And like people from our flight like jump ship onto this flight, a couple of them. And so our flights just keep getting delayed and they're like, yeah, there's just an issue with one of the monitors on the plane. They're like, it's not a safety issue or anything. And so
then let's go.
Yeah, so then let's go. And they were not giving like any answers. They were so cagey about like everything. And so we just had to like wait and we weren't sure if the flight was going to get canceled. We weren't sure about like anything. And so it was just like slowly I was like, oh, like I'm not like coming to the realization it's like, oh, I'm not going to make this flight. Soon. But I'm like nothing, but like I've never been through anything like this before. And so I was like, okay. And then I got to one point where they're like, okay, we're just gonna start the process of like rebooking you on to a different flight because it got to the point where like I was gonna miss my flight in Boston. And so then because I scheduled myself to get there because I knew the airlines have been doing whatever this summer. So when I scheduled my flights, I gave myself like a day to get over there.
Smart.
Like I was supposed to be there like 24 hours before like the group met anyway. And so they tell me to, because I was like, well, should I just stay here or should I like go through to Boston? And they were like, well, you should go through to Boston because you'll be able to get a flight out of there sooner. Because it's like a big like travel hub and that's where like the direct flights from Boston to Athens are from. And so then I'm like, okay. So they book me. They actually can't book me a direct flight because fun fact, direct flights from Boston to Athens only run on weekdays and not the weekends. And so now since I'm flying on a Saturday as opposed to a Friday, I
Oh
had
my
to do it.
God.
Yes, so it's like a nightmare. It's already shaping out to be a little bit of a nightmare, but it's what they can do. So then I fly to Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get there after the plane has taken off, and they put me up in a hotel. And yeah, so I sleep in a hotel for the night, and then I go back to the airport in the morning. Basically, because there's like nothing else I can do. And I flew out, I want to say a little past 5 p.m. And I was stopping in Paris. And then
Oh, oui.
yeah, stopping in Paris and then going to Athens. And so I had checked my bag. And so my like luggage isn't with me, which is fine at this point because I'm like, oh, it's just like an overnight, whatever. And so then I was flying with, let's say their names, Delta.
Yeah.
My
Criminals.
first experience flying with Delta. Not amazing, to be honest. So, but the rest of my flights were on Air France, which is like owned by Delta, but not really. But I still don't know how it all works. But
Yeah.
I go to the Delta desk in the airport and I give them my passport. And they're like, you're not on a Delta flight. You're on an Air France flight. You have to go down to the Air France desk. And so I'm like, okay, cool. And so then I walk down to Air France. Nobody there. Just nobody at the desk.
Hello.
I was like, hello. And it kind of made sense because they didn't have any flights flying out until like my flight was like the first of their flights for the day. And so and it's like noon at this point, and that's not till 5. So it makes sense that they're not like there fully.
I don't know. Maybe have like one person.
Yeah, maybe just you know,
like tell people what to do.
Yeah, but not having 24-hour service, let me tell you, very European. Anyways.
We come when we come. We want to come, we come. We don't want to come, we don't come.
Oh my God, literally. And so, yeah, so I'm like running back and forth between like Delta and Air France. Like my mom's on the phone at one point, like asking like all this stuff. And so eventually I like waited out long enough and somebody comes to Air France. And so I get checked in, I get like my boarding pass and stuff. And I asked them, I'm like, okay, so my bag, I gave them my luggage tag too, because I'm like, so my bag will like follow me, right? And they're like, yeah. And so
they're like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, for sure.
And so then I go through security again. Oh, and this is actually good. So I go through security. I get a full inspection, like pat down of both my groin area as well as my buttocks. And
it's humiliating, right?
No, yeah, literally.
I have to have it done because I can't go through the scanner with my pump. So you would think they like pull you aside. No, just the middle of everyone. They just
I made him do it in the middle of everyone. No, because I was listening to a podcast and they were like, oh, when somebody asks you to do that, just make them do it in public. Like if they want to do that, they have to do it like in front of everybody.
Because if they grope you, people are gonna see.
And so I don't think there's a way not to grope you when like
they have to grope you.
They have to.
But in America, I found that in America they would be like, okay, so I'm gonna put my hand in your upper thigh. In Europe, they were just like boom, 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 like smacking me around, spinning me. They were like, go.
Oh my God. I've not had the pleasure of doing it in Europe yet. But
it will happen.
No, so I get the full like inspection. Like he even has to go, the TSA agent even has to go like in my waistband and do one of these. Like
classic.
And fully like touches my genitals a couple times like with his hand. And so yes, that was the first thing.
Awesome.
Second thing, I have my backpack, which is like my carry-on with me. And I brought like a nicer pair of shoes. I have like 2 pairs of shoes, my sneakers, and then like my like Doc Marten like loafery kind of things. And so I have those at the very bottom of my bag because I'm like, oh, I don't need them in the airport at any point, so it's good. They pull my bag at like TSA and he wants to like do the shoes. And so I literally see this man unpack my entire backpack, pull everything out, and then like go down to the shoes. I literally have underwear roll half my underwear is rolled up in my shoes.
Oh boy.
And he takes all that out too, and he's like wiping the thing. He like has a little wand thingy that he's like wiping it with. And so
bag tour.
yeah, literally. And so my entire bag gets emptied out. But he actually packed it back quite nicely. Like I still did have to go back in and like, fix things, but like not as bad as you would have thought.
Okay.
And so I lived through that, and I'm still having plenty of time. And so I'm like, okay, work. And so, yeah. And then, so everything with the next flight kind of goes off without a hitch. So I get on my flight. I'm going to Paris. The person in front of me, literally a war criminal, I want to say, because on international flights, the seats recline so much. And something about me on an international flight, I'm watching a movie, babe, because it's the best place to watch a movie because you can't use your phone.
Yeah.
And you have a screen like right in front of you, like really near your face.
It's right there.
Yeah. So I watched 2 movies. I watched King Richard, very good, by the way.
Okay.
And I watched Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar.
Oh, word. Yeah.
Which I immediately texted Becca upon my arrival in Paris and said, you need to watch this movie, actually.
It's been on my watch list for a while.
Oh my God. No, Becca, in a similar way to Julia Fox is what would happen if we invented a person. Barb and Star goes to Vista Del Mar is like what we would write a movie about. Like
perfect. Okay.
Oh my God. It's kind of genius. And I've known about it for a long time too, but I didn't know like one of the main components of it. It's crazy. And so, yeah, but the person in front of me, literally like maybe an hour to 2 hours in, fully reclines their seat. And I tried to recline mine, but it just wasn't working. I don't know if I wasn't doing something right. So first of all, my screen's like here, like on my body. I'm doing a visual for the podcast, but my screen is like, I'm like staring down at it now. So like my viewing experience is a little impeded. And I'm a long-legged girl. And so, normally, my knees are already up against like the seat. And so, the chair is just like digging into my knees and stuff. And so I'm just like, okay. Oh, and of course, because I was rebooked, it's a 9-row section. I'm in the middle section in the middle seat. So I'm dead ass. And I had booked myself window seats. That was another part of
terrible.
Yeah. And so, and then this person in front of me, like they were sleeping, which like good for them. I'm not the girl that sleeps on flights. But then they started like adjusting to like get comfortable. And so they would do like pull themselves up and back and fucking like body slam their chair and therefore like my knees. And I was like, oh my God, you are actually a terrorist. Like we should be, the air marshal should take you out of the
investigating
sky.
you.
You are planning something.
I definitely would have brought back the yaga for them. Pull their head real hard.
They had short hair too, so there was nothing like that to
I would make it work.
Oh my God. Like I said, I would have found a way. Anyway, so then we land in Paris. The sun is rising in Paris. It was beautiful to watch from the airport. From the security line that was so fucking long.
So long, always.
Yeah, so I'm in the security line to like scan my passport. And my flight to Athens is at like, I want to say like 6:15 or something. And it's like 5:30 at this point. So I'm like, okay, I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting. And then I finally like get through the security line. Like multiple people were getting upset at like the flight attendant, all the airport workers. But at this point, I've just accepted that like, things are going wrong.
Yeah. It's gonna happen.
And so I scan my passport and then I walk to my gate and I have missed my flight to Athens. The flight was still like, I think waiting, but like they were like, oh yeah, we closed doors. And so then they were still like super nice about it. And then like there was another flight going to Athens a few hours later. So I just got on that one. And then finally on that flight, I touched down in Athens. And so yeah, we're there. It's amazing. Until I go to the luggage carousel and my bag never comes up. And now I was pretty sure this was going to happen because when I bought, and guys, this is something I will plug. I bought Apple AirTags for my my belongings and stuff. And so they're basically like trackers. And so they show you where things are. And so I checked them when I was taking off from Boston, and I took off out of Terminal E. My bag came up as being in like Terminal A. And not like, oh, today at 8:30 a.m. No, like now. Like I'm sitting on the plane and my bag is in Terminal A. And so I'm like,
I don't see her making it with me.
I'm like, so I was a little prepared for this. So I'm not like completely dumbfounded. And so then when I get to Athens, there's like no, like, I don't think the bag is like at all picking up. It was like last seen today at like whatever time. And so then I go to like baggage tracing at the Athens airport. Oh my goodness. And this is my first encounter with Greek culture. And something I think would be helpful for everybody to know about Greeks in particular. No hurry.
Really?
No, nothing's an emergency. Nothing's, dire. Everything's just kind of like, okay. Like everybody's just kind of calm. Everybody's, or not even calm, but like everybody's just kind of like moving at their own pace, all this stuff. And so, also like people were cutting lines. Like it was just like dealing with this whole process was like chaotic. So I wait in this line for like about 30 minutes. I finally get someone to help me.
Please help me.
And then she helps me for like 2 minutes. We start the process and she's like, actually, I have to go help this other person. There was this blonde woman there. She was like an icon to me a little bit. She's this blonde woman wearing like monochromatic pink. And she was just kept like cutting the line and like coming back. They must have lost her bags, but she was like talking to them and she just kept, and we were all like, what does she have like on these people at baggage tracing? That she keeps like cutting the line and like usurping all of us basically.
Yeah.
Because she came back multiple times and the lady stopped helping me so she could help her. And so I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Sounds a lot like me, to be honest.
Literally, no, it was like, no, I was like, that's Becca in 30 years. But anyway.
Word.
And so I eventually get like a report filed. And so then I'm like, well, okay. And so then I get in a cab and go to my hotel. And so then my trip like fully starts like that night. Like I meet up with my group, we go to dinner, all that kind of stuff. And I have the clothes on my back.
Oh my goodness,
and everything in my carry-on, which luckily, as I said earlier, there was underwear in my carry-on. So like,
hey, good. That's all you truly need.
And so, and then I enjoy Athens, like the whole next day. I get to know my group. We got to dinner. It's a lovely experience. And then the next day we did like a bunch of the historical stuff around Athens. So we saw the Acropolis and the Parthenon. And then we went and saw the Temple of Zeus, Hadrian's Wall, all this really cool stuff. And so then by that point, I look at my luggage and it had been in Amsterdam. It had made it to Amsterdam at some point before that. And so, and then it had made it to Athens. And so I was like, oh, it's at the Athens airport. Yay.
Cute.
And so I enjoyed the whole day. Like I go and get dinner. And then I was talking to my mom because they were like, oh, well, like I gave them the address of my hotel and they're like, oh, we can like send it to your hotel once we get it. And they're like, oh, we'll call you. And I hadn't gotten a call from them, but I saw it was at the airport. So I'm like, okay. So then my mom and I were talking and she was like, I would just go to the airport if I were you. And so I was like, okay. And so then I go back to the airport. It's like 8 o'clock in Greece at this point. I go back to the airport. I go back to baggage tracing. And I one fatal flaw I did make is I forgot my little like report, like the literal sheet of paper that they printed out. I get no email confirmation, nothing. But I have a piece of paper that shows my like case number on it. It has all the stuff about my bag, all that kind of stuff. And so
My Lego paper.
it's like the one thing I leave like in my hotel room by accident. And so that made things harder to look up, but I don't think it actually would have helped. And so then I'm like, well, my tracker is showing us here. And they're like, well, you can just like look around at like the piles of bags we have over in baggage. And then if you don't find,
go ahead.
Yeah, if you don't find your bag in there, we can have security take you down to where we store the bags. And so then I looked through this one pile, and I'm like, okay, they didn't go. They're like, my bag's not over there. And she's like, okay, then go over to security and tell them you need to go down to like luggage. And I'm like, okay. So I go over to security. I'm like, okay, can somebody take you down there? And he's like, yeah, we'll take you down as soon as someone's available. Another fucking like 10 minutes. Like, and I see like multiple security people walking around. It's like, I'm not saying I know how to run an airport, but I'm like, what is going on? Like, why can't any of these people help me?
Can they take me?
At one point I was like standing up because at this point I'm like getting a little, I'm trying to mean business. And he's just like, sir, you can sit down. This is going to take a minute. And I was like, okay.
Sir, did everyone spoke English?
Everybody speaks English in Greece, basically. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
And so, yeah. But like some people better than others, just, like anywhere else. And so, so then a man comes and takes me down to luggage storage in like the bowels of the Athens airport. And so I go down there and they're like, okay, you can just search through the bags. They're giving me carte blanche. And I like look and there's this whole like corridor of like just bags and stuff. And then I like look and it's like a whole fucking room. And Becca, I'm not joking. There are hundreds of bags.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, and not just bags, strollers, pet carriers, like all the stuff people like check through their final destination. It's like a graveyard.
I would have taken so much stuff. I would have said so much stuff was mine.
No, because like they weren't checked. Like I fully could have, but so I started looking. I search the whole room at least twice. I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
And I'm like, none of these look like my bag, but it's like, it's not helpful because first of all, my bag's black. It's a black Samsonite bag. So of the like hundreds of bags, of like the 500 bags, maybe they're in there, 475 of them are that.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I easily could have missed it. I'm fucking jet lagged. I'm like doing all this shit. And so anyway.
Yeah.
So I look through and there's this, of course, with all these bags, there's one person working on processing all of them.
Yeah.
And I was talking to her about where it might be. And she was like, wait, remind me when you traveled. And I was like, oh, I got in yesterday. And she's like, your bag wouldn't be down here. She goes, these are all the bags we've had for like over 145 days.
Quinn, I would have taken so much stuff. Like, this is crazy. I'm trying to fly there and pretend I lost something.
No, Becca, you can go shopping. Oh my God.
Because apparently you can just show up and say that you lost your bag.
There's nothing. There's nothing.
Wow.
And so, I fully believe at the Athens airport too. So then I'm like, okay, my bag's not here. And so then I go back up. I look for more of those fucking piles in security. I'm searching through baggage claim, trying to find my bag. And I'm just like, it's not happening. And so then I like talk to baggage tracing and they're like, yeah, sorry. And this is the one point where I started like, because I'm, I like it's none of these workers' fault that like my bag is lost. Like,
Yeah.
it's ultimately very much bigger things. But at this point, I'm starting to get frustrated. And I'm not one of those people that's going to yell at like a worker or anything. But at this point, I do start to get a little stern and I start to try to make things seem a little bit more dire. And I'm like, okay, I literally leave Athens tomorrow. Like, I will not be in Athens after tomorrow, because that was true, because we were going to like the islands. And so I was like, I won't be in Athens. So what, like, how do I get my bag back? And they're like, sorry, it's just what a lot of people are dealing with this summer. And so then I'm like, okay. So then I go up to like the check-in desk for Air France. Again, no one is there.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I'm like on the phone with my mom and I'm like, okay, like, and she's
cried.
like, oh my God, I was on the brink of tears, believe me.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, the best thing is to just go home at this point. And then, because we were also leaving at like 5 a.m. to catch our ferry the next day. And so like, there's no coming back. It's like 11, like I'm not, like it's 11 p.m. So I'm like not going to get sleep. Yeah. There's no coming back. Because that's the other thing the lady suggested. She's like, oh, just come back tomorrow morning. And I'm like, so I actually leave at 5. And she's like, okay, well, just like come at 4 then. And I'm like, okay.
Awesome.
And she basically, and like, she basically thought that the bag was like behind a wall and that it hadn't been like processed yet. And I was like, at one point I was like, okay, so can somebody take me behind the wall? And she's like, no.
I would have been like, let me clock in. Let me start processing shit.
I will do the work for y'all.
Yeah. I'm here volunteering.
No, literally. And so then I like defeated ride a taxi back. And like the taxis from the airport are fucking expensive. It's like, it's 40 euro each way. And so I'm like,
whoa.
Okay. Yeah. And so I spent a lot of fucking money on that. And so then I go back, and then the next morning we get on a ferry. And also the ferries are like cruise ships. Like they transport so many people, and they're like full on like cruise ships. And so we wait on the ferry we get there at 5, or we get up at like, we leave our hotel at like 5:30. We board the ferry at like 6:30, 7 o'clock. We're on the ferry just till like 10 a.m., 10:30, and we're all like, it's kind of weird that we haven't gone yet. And then they cancel the ferry due to like weather.
Oh.
And so we're like, everybody else is like bummed out, but I'm like, ooh, I have another chance to get my bag.
Yeah, this might be perfect.
We ended up getting back to Athens, and it was annoying because our tour guide was like, oh, well, we might be getting on a ferry tonight, but we also might have to wait until tomorrow morning. It just kind of depends. And so the ferry was leaving at 6, and we wouldn't know till 4:30. And so I'm like, and so by the time I could have gone back to the airport, it's like 2 o'clock. Yeah. And so I'm like, I don't have time. And so then I just completely break off from the group. I just like completely, something about me is I will like disappear from a group. It's like something people kept saying on like the thing. They're like, you'll just fully like go off and do your own thing, because I was fully like, because at that point everybody was just like, it was all starting to get to me a little bit. And I was like, I just need to be alone for like a couple hours.
I need to do the solo part.
And it's like, yeah, no. And it's funny because it's like a group of adults. So like, they don't, like, they care where you are, but not like every second.
Yeah.
So like, if there's nothing like actively going on, you can just kind of do whatever. And so I fully just like there was a group, like a group of us went out and got lunch. The group went like the other way back towards the hotel. I went like the complete opposite way and just like fucking, I didn't tell anybody where I was going. I just fucking like took off.
Yeah. Good for you.
And so then I found a store, and I took this little Greek man and I directed him around the store at all the things I needed. And I bought like a new mini wardrobe for my time in Greece.
Well, doesn't the plane have to refund you for the stuff you bought while your luggage was missing?
I believe that's how it's supposed to work in theory. But yes, that assumes that I have had the time to like be on the phone with Air France or Delta or whoever is ultimately responsible for losing my luggage. I do have travel insurance, so I filed a claim with them. Have
Good.
not heard anything back. Should probably follow up on that. But because it
Yeah.
was a lot of money I spent, like, and not
Yeah.
even just on the, like, not even just on the clothes, but I ended up having to book ferries and accommodations, and it like completely disrupted my travel plans. And so, yeah. But anyway, so, yeah, so that is the bag saga. And then I guess really quickly, I'll just do a rundown of kind of where I've been
Well, wait.
so far.
How'd you get your bag then?
Well, we'll get back to
Okay.
that.
Okay. Whoa. I'm like, oh my God. Okay.
So, so then we started in Athens. Athens is really cool. Athens is kind of what I imagine like New York City was like before like Giuliani. So like kind of like
Whoa.
like cool, definitely urban vibe, but a little gritty, like a little seedy in some parts. Like not everything's so sanitized, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And so it was cool to like go around and see the sights, but like other than like seeing the sights, it doesn't seem like there's like a ton to like do like touristy stuff. I don't know if that makes sense. Because I was originally like, oh, we're only in Athens for like one day, but then it kind of made sense once I was there.
Gotcha.
And so then we end up getting on that 6 o'clock ferry. And so we take like a 5-hour ferry ride to Paros, which is an island in Greece. And so we get there in like the dead of night. It's pitch black outside. They like take us to our rooms and stuff, and we all like pass out because we've been up since 5 a.m. and it's like past midnight at this point. And so then I like sleep until the next morning, and then I wake up, I like get dressed, get ready, all that kind of stuff. I open my door and it's like paradise outside. Like it's like blue skies, the white buildings. I can hear the ocean. And like it was like the most beautiful thing ever.
Lovely.
Literally in one of my Instagram posts for Paros, if you guys want to go and look, like the second slide, like that was literally just like the view when you stepped right outside of my hotel room. Like there are these beautiful like Valentino pink flowers everywhere. And so I was like, oh my goodness. And so then like I like walked to breakfast and I was just like sitting there like staring because our hotel was like right off the beach too. So like we were like you could literally see the water from like the like deck where you could like eat breakfast and stuff. So like I ate breakfast like looking at the ocean. I walked down to the beach to journal because as Becca told us, journaling by bodies of water, it's in. And she was so right about that actually.
Perfect.
And so yeah, so Paros was really fun. Kind of like exploring the islands and stuff.
Did you get to swim?
Yes, I did swim in the ocean.
So salty, right?
Yes. It was, and then it was like it was like rocky at the bottom. It wasn't like it was sand, but then there were also like rocks and stuff. But it was beautiful. I had a beautiful experience swimming in the ocean. And then we actually had a cooking class, a Greek cooking class.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so fun. This little Greek woman like ordered us all around the kitchen. It was a fun experience. I drank a lot of wine that night. And we made like all this. Greece is like the best food I've ever had in my life. Actually, like every meal I ate, I was just like, like it was so good. Like Greek salads in Greece, y'all. Ooh. The feta, the tomatoes. I'm not even a big tomato person at home, but like I was eating like fully like quarters of tomatoes like all the time. I was like num, eat it up.
Yeah.
No, and this cooking class was crazy because like we start and they bring us like shots.
Word.
And so we're like doing shots and they're like, guys, if you ever need to take a break to like drink wine and stuff. I literally took 3 shots. It tasted like tequila, but I think it was like a traditional like Greek like drink, but it tasted kind of like a less strong version of tequila. So through the cooking class, I ended up taking 3 shots because I was a little bit of a star student in the cooking class, if I do say so myself.
Oh, I'm sure you were.
And so I ended up taking 3 shots and like drinking a bunch of wine during class. And so by the end of dinner, I'm like zooted. And then we ended up going out that night, which was fun.
Ooh.
Yeah, we went out one night in Paros. It was also weird because, okay, so in the group, it was like a group of 4 solo travelers who could like all travel together.
Mm-hmm.
But the group was all people like in their late 20s or early 30s. Like the next
Okay.
oldest person on the trip was probably 26 or 27.
Okay.
And like a lot of people were just dead ass like 30, like years old. Like so many
Straight up.
people had just turned 30.
Wait, there's only 4 of you though?
No, there are
Oh.
14 of us.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Like it's a pretty big group. And so, but I'm like the baby by far. Like I'm 21 years, like I'm 21 and they're all just
Good
like,
for
oh my
you.
goodness. And so, yeah.
Mhm.
So we,
Are any of them cute?
yes, but not for me,
Okay.
you know.
Boo.
Boo.
You never know though.
Yeah, you never know. And so yeah, Paris, we went out one night. Oh my God, when we went out, it was so fun because like 80s music is still so big here. Like there's this one bar we went to. It was
Oh,
absolutely
funny.
packed, like this club, absolutely packed, but they were I did not care because they were playing like Donna Summer, Taylor Dane, Tell
Whoa.
It to My Heart. Like, oh my God, it was my heaven. It was like I was like I
That's
was like
so
I'm in like
fun.
yes. And so that was very fun. And so that was kind of Paros, and then we went to Naxos.
Mm-hmm.
Which is another island. And then I think oh my God, Naxos is where I took the fucking hike. So there was this hike that our
Mm-hmm.
instructor wanted to take us on. And it actually probably should be my jump scare. No, I'll save another story for my jump scare. But my so we're on, she talks about taking us on this hike, and she had talked about us to us about it the night before and was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, but like I realize you guys are on vacation, so some of you might not want to suffer. Like she literally used the word suffer. And we're all like ha 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 ha.
LOL.
But there's actually some truth to that. And so I'm one of the dummies that's like, oh, I'll go on the hike. And so then we start on this hike through like the mountain villages of like Naxos.
Yeah.
And so, because like on islands, there'll be like coast towns, and then they're like the mountain villages and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're doing hikes through the mountain villages, like fully for the first 15 minutes, just like uphill, like climbing stairs, like all this kind of stuff. And so I'm already like,
Big mistake.
and so then it's a couple hours by this point, and she's like, oh, do you guys want to go up to the castle?
Couple hours.
Oh yeah, it was like 5 or 6 hours. It's 5 or 6
Quinn.
hours we're on this hike.
Did you bring water?
Yes, but like not enough, because we were all like, well, what do we
Not sufficient.
She didn't like prepare us sufficiently. Luckily people had extra, and she had like brought electrolytes and stuff, but like, oh my God, by the end I was like scrounging water from people. I was like, oh, do you have water? And like, oh my God. Anyway.
Please, sir.
So she's like, do you guys want to go to the castle? And we're all like, what castle? And she's like, oh, it's up there. And we like look and we're like, so we don't see a castle. And so she was talking about like ruins. And so another thing about our tour guide, I loved her, but like her English wasn't like amazed. Like it wasn't like
it wasn't
like
appropriate.
Yeah, some things definitely got lost in translation a little bit. And so looking back, and we were like, yeah, well, I'll go up there. Like, let's do it. Like 2 people stayed behind. But we were like, yeah, let's go up there. And like looking back, we realized that like she was trying to like persuade us not to. Like she was like, oh, are you guys sure? It's like a pretty far way up and like all this stuff. And we're like, no, let's do it. And she, like we all like later we were like, was she just like trying to like warn us a little bit, but like still make it feel like it was our decision? But she obliges to our wants, and she takes us up, and oh my God, and this is my first like hike ever. Like I had never really like done anything like that, like, you know.
Yeah.
And so we're just trekking up this fucking mountain, like rocks. Like there isn't like a trail either. Like you're just like literally like climbing rocks at some points. And sometimes the rocks
Damn.
don't stay put and they're moving and you got to negotiate that. I was like bending in ways that I didn't even know like I could like do. And I'm literally wearing like sneakers. Like I'm not wearing like boots. I'm not doing any of this.
Yeah.
My ankles are going every which way. And at that point, I start to realize, like halfway up this mountain, I start to realize I'm like, oh, like if anything happened to me up here, like there's nothing that can be done really because there's not a road to like where we were. And so like an ambulance can't come get me.
You'd have to be helicoptered.
Oh yeah, but there's like nowhere to fucking land either. And it's like we're in like oh my God. It was like I realized that too. And I was like, oh shit, like I better be, you know. And so eventually we like climb up and I make it all the way to the fucking ruins. And it's really cool. We're 1,300 feet like up, like above sea level.
Oh my God.
Yes. And
you start at 0?
No, we started probably at like 500, I would say. But like it was sizable.
Still,
and so then
that's a lot.
Something they don't tell you about hiking actually. Getting down is much harder than actually getting up. Because like by the time I got up and I was like, okay, work. It's all gravy from here.
Here I am.
Getting down is actually much harder sometimes.
Because you have to do that stupid little walk where you lean back and go really fast.
Oh yeah. Or you have to literally turn around, back yourself up, and go on all fours, like backwards.
Oh my God. Did a group of you do that?
Yes, like people actually I think I was the only person really using that method, but I was like, girl, I'm not fucking, because you know me, Becca. Something about me is I'm gonna fall.
You're gonna fall and you're gonna fall hard. And there's
literally, and I was like, I can't, like that's not an option for me actually. If I fall up here, I'm fucking dead. Like I was like, I kept saying to myself, like, I'm not gonna die here. I'm not gonna die here. I'm not gonna die here.
Oh my God, you were scared. You were
no,
really
I was scared. I wasn't scared. I'm like, my mom is not gonna get called that I'm fucking dead in Greece on a mountain because I had to climb a fucking mountain. Like that's not gonna be my destiny.
Chose to climb a mountain.
Literally chose.
Yeah.
And so
glad
eventually,
you didn't.
Yes, we make it back down and. Yeah, that was kind of the most significant thing that happened on Naxos. And then we went to Santorini.
Ooh, cute.
And then I got tricked into another fucking hike the next day. Which I didn't fear for my life on that hike, but it still was hard.
Yeah.
And so, and then Santorini was beautiful. But the last day I wake up, or no, it's not the last day in Santorini, but you know, for the stories, the last day of the trip, I wake up in Santorini. I haven't checked on my bag in a couple of days because I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna give this any more real estate. I'm just gonna enjoy my trip and stuff. Where is my bag? But Paros, which is the first island we had been on.
How did she do that?
I told them that after Athens, I was going to Paros. But I never gave them an address or anything. And I have not received a call from them, nothing. And so I'm like, oh, my bag's just on Paros now. But I was kind of hoping it would stay there because I figure that airport would be super small and it would be a lot easier to get it from there rather than the Athens airport.
Yeah.
And so then our trip wraps up in Santorini. And so then it's like, okay, I'm on my own now. Because this trip, like they, like, except for like the flight over, they arranged all your transport. They arranged all the hotels and stuff. And so I haven't actually had to do any of that stuff for myself yet. And so then it's up to me. And so.
So that little group thing was only for the Greece part?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. And so I'm doing another one in Spain, like.
Okay.
That starts in like 10 days to 2 weeks. But anyway. And so, yeah. So,
if you go to Barcelona, you have to meet Neela.
I am going to Barcelona.
Okay, perfect.
Literally first place on the itinerary.
Okay, I'll set you up.
Yeah. And so So now I'm like, so I say goodbye to my group, and then I get back on the ferry to go. Well, actually, I had to go back to Naxos because I forgot two things at my hotel in Naxos. So I was like, might as well go back. Um, and this was so fun. My first day was like a struggle because from Naxos, I was like, okay, so how do I like hail a cab? And I like didn't figure that out. And then I'm like, well, my hotel is only like a 30-minute walk from the port. And so fully, well, oh, because I didn't have my bag yet. So I didn't have my roller luggage. So I just had my backpack on my back, but my backpack's so fucking heavy.
Yeah.
And so I just took a 30-minute walk to my hotel from the port because I had like a couple of hours.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I was on the struggle bus. And then I got lunch, and then big surprise, my ferry ended up getting delayed. Like, and I'm just waiting there at the port. They didn't tell us like anything. I'm waiting there at the port for like 3 hours. Like,
amazing.
It's just whatever at this point. I'm reading a book. It's whatever.
Yeah.
And then after literally the choppiest ferry ride of my life, like the boat was fully like doing this. Like, it's a good thing I don't get motion sick because
oh my God.
I was like
That
fully
would've
like
done it.
I was fully looking around like I should be motion sick right now. The way this boat is moving, because they fully had to come on and be like, okay guys, please stay in your seats.
But oh my God.
And they were like running around with like bags, like giving out like little doggy bags to people. It was a mess. And so then I get back on Paros. I booked myself a hotel, which ended up being such a slay and a serve. And so I slept there for the night, and then the next day I go to the airport. Oh my God. And then I have the Queen taxi driver. So the taxi driver, like I have them book me. They don't call them like taxis or anything here. They call them transfers.
oh, lovely.
And so I have the hotel book me a transfer to the airport. And when I was going to the airport, my taxi driver was very confused that I didn't have any bags with me. Because I'm going to the airport.
Me too.
And she's like, and so I explained to her the whole situation. And she's like, oh. And so then she starts like getting on the phone. And she starts like talking in Greek. And this woman, I was in her car for like an hour to an hour and a half. She made at least 20 different phone calls in that time, I'm going to say. She, like, baby, her plan, like, be fucking up those phone calls.
She has the mind of a mastermind.
No, literally, she makes 20 phone calls. And so she's just like, she's speaking in Greek. So I'm like, I don't know.
Out of my hands.
Out of my hands, actually. And so then she's like, oh, well, I actually got my cousin to cover something I had to pick up at the port, and so I can like help you at the airport and stuff. Like I can wait for you if you need and stuff.
That's
and
so nice.
And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you. I'm like somebody actually being like kind and accommodating at this point. Oh my God.
Amazing.
No, everybody I dealt with outside of the Athens airport was super nice. It was just,
yeah.
And so she drives me out to the airport. And I walk into the airport, I ask them where to go, and I'm like, I give them my paper, and then they roll out my bag, and I'm like, oh my God, like I almost didn't believe it. I was like, this is crazy, because this is 10 days later at this point. Like,
oh my God,
I've fully been in Greece for 10 days at this point, enjoying my trip.
So many new clothes, yeah.
Oh yeah. And so I finally get my bag back, and then she waited for me, and then she was like, oh, and this was another legend moment of her. She was like, or maybe I shouldn't say this. I don't fucking care. I don't think they'll find it. But anyway, she was like, okay, it's usually a flat rate of like 40 to and from the airport. She said, but I'm only going to charge you 60. And she was like, you can buy a beer with the other money. And she's like, and then she goes, but I'm going to give you a receipt for 80. And so when you like file an insurance claim.
Slay.
And if my insurance company is listening, I didn't do that.
No, did not take her.
I did not do that
Quinn
at all.
would never.
I never said LGBT last night.
Paris is my friend. I would never.
No, literally. I watched a whole video on that on TikTok.
Really?
Recently,
I love that moment. Yeah.
Why would I say that? Paris is my friend. Oh my God. And
Okay.
so then I go back to my hotel, and then now like my travels can resume. So then I start like booking my next travels. And so then I end up going to, from there, I go to Istanbul.
Istanbul was one country.
Uh,
Hey.
um,
I have a pea
and
brain.
oh my God, Istanbul was so fucking cool.
Mm,
Highlights. It was cool being in it was my first time being in like a non-Judeo-Christian country, like because
okay,
it's like
cool.
majority like Muslim over there.
Mm-hmm.
And so Muslims, they pray 5 times a day, and you can always like hear them like singing at the mosques. And there are so many
Oh,
mosques around that like you like wherever you are in the city, you can basically hear people like singing, like when it's prayer time,
wow.
and they do
That's
like a,
cool.
I'm not gonna like do it, but they do like a,
Yeah.
it's like a, like it was cool, like listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. And then one of the last things I did in Turkey was actually a Turkish bath.
Like a bathhouse?
Yes. But not like,
What people think it is.
yes. It's like
Okay.
actually like, so like in
True.
Islam, hygiene is very important.
Mm-hmm.
But before the
Yeah.
advent of indoor plumbing,
Mm-hmm.
people like would go to like, they're called hammams. And people would like, that's where people would like bathe and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're still in Turkey. They're still like a part of the culture in Turkey, not as big, obviously, but like, people still go to them and stuff. And so I went to this one, and oh my God, it was life changing. It was kind of just like, it was like a spa, but it was very like, you know, amazing. So you walk in
Yeah.
to this room. I read different accounts on the internet, but I read that like you're supposed to like they prefer you to wear underwear, like they don't like you to be like fully naked.
Mm-hmm.
But my experience ended up being a whole different thing. And so
Okay.
so I'm like walking around in like just like a towel, but like
Mm-hmm.
and I have underwear on under the towel because I thought that was the custom.
Right.
And so I go in, and they take you into this room that's like a sauna kind of, but it's like less hot than like your regular sauna would be in like the US. Like it's a bearable temperature in there, but it's still like, like you can
Warm.
sit in there for like longer
Gotcha.
periods than like 20 minutes. But
Yeah.
anyway, they take us immediately, like douse us in water. Like
Word.
and so I'm like, okay, so I'm soaked all of a sudden. And so then you just lay on this little like hot like marble thingy for a little while, for
Okay.
like 15-20 minutes. I went into a deep meditation. I was breathing.
Ooh, yeah.
And then like 15-20 minutes later, I get a little tap on my foot, and it is my bather.
Whoa.
I call him Dolly because his name was something like that, but it's obviously hard when you don't speak the language and people are like saying their name and stuff. And so he like pulls me up, and he's like asking me all these questions and stuff, and then he like gets to work. And so they keep doing this thing where they have this big towel, and they like dunk it in like soap, and then they like shake it out. And then they like create this big thing of suds. And so then they like empty the suds on you. So you become all like sudsy and stuff. Yeah, it's very fun. And so then he starts to like go to work. So the first thing they do is they take out like an exfoliating glove, and they like
love those.
go like your whole body. They like scratch it. And it felt really good. Actually, it felt like somebody was just like scratching me kind of like gently.
Wow.
And yeah, so that was beautiful. And then they like go through the whole spirit, but he like literally like washed me down, like my entire body, like washed me like down to like multiple phases and stuff. And then took me and dried me off. Oh my God. I felt so relaxed after that. Yeah, Turkey was so fun. Amazing. And then from Turkey, I actually went to Prague. And so I was in Prague for the last 3 days. And then I came to this little town that I'm recording from, which is called Český Krumlov, because it's like a good, like, people say it's a good day trip. And then people were also like, oh, if you can spend like, then you should spend the night here, because it's like, all the people leave at night and stuff. And I think that might be more of a thing for like peak season, because now we're like, I'm in like shoulder season a little bit for all of Europe because like
Mhm.
I was here and then like 6 p.m. everything started to like shut down. Like
Oh, they're closing it.
no, literally, like if places are shuttering. Like I went and had dinner, but like, and then after dinner, like there was like basically no one in the streets or whatever. And I was like, I think this is just, the time I'm here. But anyway, it's been really fun. I'm in this
Yeah.
really nice fucking hotel, or not like really
Nice.
nice, but like,
Cute.
nice for what I
Cutesy.
paid. Cutesy, yeah.
Good. Good.
And so
Good.
yeah, and so yeah, that is kind of the TLDR of my trip so far. A little longer than I wanted that to be, but
Okay. I
3 whole
mean, it
weeks.
sounds so fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time. So what's been
So-
your favorite place so far? I need to ask.
Istanbul.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. I
Nice.
yeah, it was just really cool because that was kind of the place I was most not afraid, but like I thought that place would be the biggest challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And it was in some ways, but like not at all like what I had made it out in my head to be.
Gotcha.
And yeah, it was just so cool. It's just like nowhere I've ever been before.
Yeah.
From like the
Wow.
architecture to like all this stuff, and it has just like so much history because it has been under control.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. It has so much history because it's been under the control of like so many different like empires and all this kind of stuff
Mm-hmm.
throughout time. And so just like hearing about the history, going to all the different places,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's amazing. It's also cool because like
Yeah.
I'm meeting people who like I'm meeting people who were like so like who come from different places and stuff. And so like I like Becca, I've met so many people, or by so many I mean 3 from New Zealand.
Okay.
Literally.
Yes.
I've met some
Love them.
Australians. Yeah.
Wow.
I try not to fangirl too hard, but oh my god. And so yeah, all these like I don't know. It's just it's really cool. And Istanbul is
That's
definitely my
awesome.
favorite place I've been so far. And so yeah,
Amazing.
Prague is also like Prague was like kind of a similar deal where it's like, I was like, I had like done research and I had all these museums, but then when I actually got to Prague, I was like, I'm kind of just obsessed with like walking around because it's like it's also beautiful, like the buildings and stuff, because they're all like
Mhm.
Art Nouveau, Renaissance, like all these beautiful buildings. And so like
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to spend my time like inside. I just want to like go around and like look at like the outsides and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool. And so yeah, so I'm still in Europe for like another like 5 weeks.
Wow.
And then,
Amazing.
perhaps doing some more stuff after that. None of that's officially on the books yet. So, but yeah, that's basically what's happening so far.
It sounds so cool.
I know.
I'm so happy for you.
No, I had a moment where I was just like recanting it. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing.
I did that. That's
I
crazy.
did that. No, and it is like really cool because it's just like the whole bag thing is really nice because like it was nice to have people on the trip who were older than me because it was they were all very complimentary. They were all like, oh my God, I would be freaking the fuck out if I were you, actually.
I'd be losing my mind, actually.
Oh yeah, people were like, oh, it would ruin my trip if this happened. I was like, I don't know, just because that's like specifically what I didn't want it to do, like ruin my whole trip,
Yeah.
And so but yeah, also the fact of just like figuring shit out myself, like because like I never even like booked my own flight, I don't think, before this trip, or like book my own hotel rooms, because like I always had like my parents would do that, or like somebody else. And so now it's just like, but it's like it's all up to me and I'm responsible for my own experience and stuff, which is liberating and also kind of terrifying, because then like if you're not having fun, it's your fault. But that hasn't really been the case so far. And so
Good.
Yeah.
Yay. You are that one.
I know. No, and I was reading this like article, and it's because my one friend made a joke. I was talking to her and I was like, oh, I'm in Greece. And she was like, oh my God, is it your birth rate trip? And I was like, I think like this whole thing I'm doing could be considered birthright before like Sagittarius says.
Literally. I was just like, yeah, you're You're being so Sagittarius at the moment.
No, I am being very Sagittarius, just like going everywhere.
Yeah, like literally.
My wanderlust. Yeah.
Yeah, wanderlust. Oh my god.
Quinn, when we have stands, and it'll be like Quinn being a Sagittarius for 30 minutes straight.
I can't wait for all the compilations people make.
Oh my god. No, we've given them a lot to sort through already.
And like, I guess I could make some and pretend to be a Stan account. Cut that out.
Oh my god, we run like MPJ updates.
Someone traces back my IP address though.
And they're like,
oh, LOL.
You're like, MPJ update. Quinn is in Amsterdam.
Quinn has done crazy drugs. Quinn has done mushrooms in Amsterdam.
Quinn is enjoying a midsummer festival in a remote colony in Sweden.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Funny.
Okay. Well, we are going to throw to a little bit of a break at this point. And then when we come back, Becca's going to let me know what the hell she's been up to.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
She's right behind me, isn't she?
Good.
Okay.
And we're back. Oh my god. So I just gabbed on and on in that last segment about what the hell I've been up to. But now perhaps more importantly, Becca, what the hell have you been doing with yourself?
What the hell,
past
even?
3 weeks? What the hell even is going on, even?
Well, so unfortunately, I have not had as grand of a time as you. Mostly because I have been in Pennsylvania for the entirety of these 3 weeks. I have mostly been working.
Yeah.
But I did pay a visit to dear old Pittsburgh.
I did. Yeah, I did want to hear about this.
Yes. So I visited Macy, my roommate, who still is in school. And what a trip. I had never been in Pittsburgh Blonde, and I think that actually has a lot to do with my experience there.
Yeah.
I will tell you this.
Blonde Becca is a whole other person, I would say, actually.
It's crazy because I'll tell you this. I have never received so much male attention in such a short span of time. It's actually insane. So anyway, okay. So I arrived, went to Stacked as
and
you
something
do.
shifted. And like everybody was like, I just felt something shift, actually.
No, the city was like, guys, what was that even? And I was like, oh, here I am. Do y'all smell that? But so, oh, it stunk in a good way. Yeah. So we went to Stacked, and then the first night, Friday night, I arrived. We went to Hems. Love Hems.
Stanless entry.
Literally. So I'm up in there, and we're kind of sitting. Hems is like a very chill bar, to set the scene a little bit. Chill bar. On a weekend night, it doesn't get like ever super crowded. But the tables like kind of fill up. People can eat food there. It's like pretty chill, and you can sit. There's also like the bar part where people like stand. So it wasn't crazy or anything. It was pretty normal. And
you went before like school was back in full swing, right?
No, school. It was the second week of school.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so everyone was pretty much there. And so we're kind of just standing behind the bar, and there's like a group of us, and I'm like leaning with Macy to my left, and then there's like an older couple behind me, actually. Well, so then this kid appears in front of me, and he goes, "Hey, I saw you looking at me." And I was like, "Oh, I've actually never seen you before in my life." So, okay, all right. But I was like,
yeah, I had to humble you real quick.
So 1 second, but you can keep talking.
Let me humble, actually.
What I must do is, but then he like was an average looking person to me. But he was also very drunk, and he literally was like, "I saw you looking at me. Do you want to come back to my place?" And I was like, "Whoa, that happened so
like
fast."
Immediately?
Like so fast he said this. And I was like, oh my goodness. So I don't know you.
What time is it? What time is it, if I may ask?
Oh, like 9:30 p.m. Yeah. He's like, I got a place like 20 minutes away. I'm like, 20 minutes away? First of all, no. And he's
no
like,
one who comes to this bar should live more than
5 minutes
15
away,
minutes
maybe.
walking distance.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, no. And he was like, can you
said, so I gotta put in
drink?
a full workout before.
Literally, what the fuck? And like, this man cannot drive a car right now, so there's no way there's like transportation happening. But he was like, can I buy you a drink? And I was like, so actually I don't want to be in debt to you, so I'm gonna actually decline, which is crazy of me. If we were at Tequila Cowboy, I would have been like, yeah, because I can run away from you. There's like 4 other rooms to go to.
Oh yeah.
But I was like, no. And then he was like, well, what are you drinking? And I was like, a gin and tonic. And he was like, okay, so I'll get one of those. I was like, so you have to tell the bartender, because I'm not giving you mine. And then he swallows it. Basically, he gets one. It vanishes. He's drinking so fast. He tells his buddy to like wait outside or whatever. I'm like, I don't know what this kid thinks is going on. Also, worst outfit I've ever seen in my life. He has on a basketball jersey, black shorts, and black Jordans on. Like, terrible outfit. You would have had to seen it. It was really terrible. I don't know. It was just making me really upset. The length of everything. Also, like the shorts were too long. Yeah,
it's giving Adam Sandler, and like not in a fun way.
He was like a skinny Adam Sandler, in the worst way.
2001 Adam Sandler,
you could say. So that he's like looking at me, and he's content warning, I guess, like vulgar. First of all, he goes, "Can you grind on me?" I go, "Sir, look at the environment we're in." No. I'm also like,
look at the material.
Literally, look at the material. No. But so I'm also trying to like not talk to him. And but he keeps saying hilarious things to me. So I'm like, okay, I gotta keep listening.
You're like,
then
we're eventually gonna record the podcast again.
Literally, I do need this. And he's like just saying the craziest things. And then he's like, oh, also, like, I love eating pussy. I was like, okay. And I'm like, literally, I'm looking. I start to look the opposite direction of him, and he taps me on the shoulder. He goes, "You're turning me on." I'm like, what is going on? Finally, I get another.
Freud would be having a field day with this man.
He would be like, "Oh my god," vigorously writing notes. But
oh my god,
oh my god. But then I get another tap on it's the woman behind me. She goes, "This is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life." He was like, "This boy is trying so hard to get to like be with you, and he's failing so miserably." I was like, I know, right?
You got viewers.
No, literally. And then the kid goes to her and her husband, "You're whack." Which is crazy, because I don't even think he fully heard what she said. But he was like, "You're whack." So that was crazy. And I was like, oh my God, he's not going to leave me alone. Because then he was like, where are we going next? Where are we going next? And I was like, so you to bed. And then
you should go home probably.
Yeah. Yeah. You should go 20 minutes away. But I'm like, there's no way he's like going to let me like basically escape. And so then Tim, Macy's boyfriend, and Gabe, Tim's friend, they were like, Becca, like, honest, like, we will help you out, because it's so apparent that like he's really not gonna like let you go. So what happened was Tim says to him, "So dude, I got a question for you." And Tim like spins him around real suave like, and me and Macy fully run out of the bar, and we run down the street past Mario's. We run like basically to Starbucks and hide in a corner. And then Tim says he left. He realized. I'm like, oh my God, he could come at any second.
He's scouring the streets.
Literally. But I think we had lost him at that point. So then we went to Boots. Classic. We made the meow. I'm gonna take my time. TikTok.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to
kept
talk
you in
about the cigarette
anticipation.
vending machine with the boots.
Oh no. No. Um, but yeah, and then we went to Jeans, of course.
That's
It was
crazy.
pretty
No,
slay.
the things women have to deal with, like also the
Insane.
fact that he like fought, like the fact that he like went out after, because like when I heard you guys were like running down to like Starbucks, I was like, oh wow, like okay. But then no, like he literally left
No.
the bar and was like about to,
Yeah.
he was sending out search parties for you.
No, yeah, he was on the hunt.
No, literally.
It
Oh
was
my
scary.
God.
Yeah.
No.
So that was that night. And then the next night, well, the next day, I actually went to my first tailgate for a pit game.
Yas.
It's just something I didn't really ever have the desire to do before, but it's pretty fun.
Wait, Becca, can I actually ask you, during your time
Yeah.
as a student at Pitt, how many football games did you attend?
Great question. I think I went to less than 5.
I can tell you the exact number I went to.
Did you go to 1?
Yes, I went to one. I went to
Yeah.
one football game my first year. And we stayed.
Yeah.
I wanted to go last year because it wasn't really a thing my second year. I really
Mhm.
wanted to go last year, but I just it never
Yeah.
worked
It's
out.
I bought the like season tickets my freshman year because it was like a bigger deal to me then.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That I didn't really care after that. Didn't want to pay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, now being removed from it, like seeing people go to like, people are up drinking at like 9 a.m. I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
it is crazy. How do you do that?
What are you doing?
Yeah. That being said, I did do the Rattling Bog at like 11 a.m. It needed
Now
to
we do it
happen.
like once every a while, like,
Yeah, once a year, it's fine. It's
but like if you're
fine.
getting up every Saturday and that's your vibe, like,
Yeah, it's too much.
also like, I don't know. Well, actually, tell me your experience with the game.
Well, so we went in and then it's like, oh yeah, we're doing good. I'll jump up and down, beep boop, beep boop. And then first of all, I don't know the rules of football.
Mm-hmm.
Makes it utterly confusing for me to be there.
Yeah.
And we're not that good to my understanding. So it's like, I don't know. When we started losing, I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go.
Fair weather fan.
Yeah. I just can't. I can't. Yeah. I don't know. It's fine though. I think I cared about it more in high school for football games. It was more of a thing.
Yeah, football games. I went to a lot of football games my freshman year of high school, and then after that, I was just I bravely in my life at this point, I just don't care about sports.
Literally, yeah, rock
Actually,
on.
I did get into my friend Corey is really into tennis. And there was this one night this summer where we like
Okay.
sat in his living room and just watched tennis videos for like at least 2 hours. And I was like enthralled. He was like showing me all his favorite matches.
Have you ever played?
Yes, like in gym class.
I used to play, and I kind of want to get back into it. It seems like a fun thing to like do when you're like, I don't know, late
Old.
20s.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Old, yeah.
just kidding.
both.
To all my new 30-year-old friends I made on my trip, just kidding, guys. You're not
You guys are
old.
so young and
You guys
fresh.
are
And you
so
don't need
young,
Botox.
actually.
Yeah.
That was the other thing about being on a trip with like 30-year-olds is that like they were talking about like some of them owned houses.
Whoa.
And some of them
Stop.
were like some of them were in the process of trying to own a house. There's just one girl who was engaged to be married. She's getting married this year
Mm-hmm.
on my birthday. Or no,
Whoa.
maybe the day before my birthday.
Okay.
I'm like, good, because you're not gonna take that from me.
Can't take my day away. Yeah, that's how it is at work, kinda. There's like some older girls. who,
Oh,
like, have
your work. Oh my
trying
God,
to buy a
yeah,
house.
it's
Yeah.
crazy. I was like, that's crazy.
Why are
I
you
was
old?
like, as somebody who never sees myself owning property, that's crazy. Anyway.
Yeah. Good for you, though.
Or I guess I should say, as somebody who doesn't understand how I will ever be in a financial place where I can own property,
Who cannot fathom
who cannot actually fathom that at this point.
having more than $500?
Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
sport, yeah, football especially.
It's just
No, sometimes I like to watch it, but like I don't know. People who are like people, I don't know, because like
it depends.
I think the weird, I don't know if this is a word, but like auspicious, is that a word?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like the weird kind of like auspicious or like thing about like college football is it's just like an excuse, especially to school like Pitt, where like we're not like we won the ACC championship last year, but it's like
Doesn't really mean
it
much
was
to
the
me.
ACC championship. Like it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
like, SEC or anything
Yeah.
like that. And so um
Mm-hmm.
like we're not like a football school. We're not
Something I
a
do. I love a chant though. I
mm,
love a moment of
it's communal.
yes, I love that. And like
Mhm.
that is fun, but when you're losing, it only happens so often that we get to be like, whoa, oh, 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 you know?
Yeah, all of our chants at Pitt too are like so contrived.
Yeah.
Like we do Sweet Caroline, which like wasn't a thing, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's such a great tradition." I'm like, it like started in the '90s, like,
I do like it though.
and then also, have you ever the like battle chant or whatever it's connect,
Connect. That one?
Yes, yes. I think that's
Yeah.
crazy because they're like, oh, it's like the people who were like indigenous to this, it was like a battle chant that they used to say. And I'm like, oh, so the people you colonized this land from to build this university, this is what they screamed at the French people who were colonizing.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm
Let's
like,
yell it.
yeah, yeah. I remember them teaching us that, and I'm like, oh my God. It's
Maybe we
2019. I'm
shouldn't.
like, oh my God. Like we're still doing this?
Oh my God, guys. Yeah, stuff like that is
Um,
kind of goofy.
yeah.
Um, but
I
yeah,
yeah, but yeah, it's really weird how we just like how people like don't care about football, but like they just use it as an excuse to like wake up on a Saturday morning and start drinking at like 11
true.
a.m.
Yeah. Well, okay, I will say this game was against Tennessee.
Oh yeah.
And our whole plan after the game was to go to Tequila Cowboy, of course.
Hmm.
What a gift to the Tennessee people. Just fell in their freaking laps. What Tequila Cowboy, the perfect place for them. So we did go there after the game, which was really fun.
Hmm.
We danced our little booties off. I wore my cow print cowboy hat.
Hmm.
In the Uber there, because we went home in between, I said, Macy, how many people do you think are going to ask to put my cowboy hat on? And she said, 3, all boys. Immediately as we walk in, a man with the Tennessee overalls comes up to me and goes, can I try on your hat? I was
You're
like,
like,
oh
I would
boy, right away.
I love Macy, but 3 is a very conservative estimate.
But she was right.
Really?
Who asked not a lot of people said they liked my hat, but 3
Hmm.
specifically wanted to try them on. And I was like, I literally was like, so it's actually glued on to my wig. And I pretended this was a wig. And he was like, okay. And then he was like, oh, also like, I love you. And I was like, thank you. And then he asked for a hug. And I was like, I'll give you that much. And then I hugged him and he walked away. And then basically that happened again, basically, from someone else.
Somehow, where's
Um
my hug?
yeah,
Me and
it's
Corey say that to each other as like a
sickening.
joke. Like whenever we leave each other, we're always like, "Where's my hug?"
Can I steal a kiss?
Like if somebody actually wears my hug to me,
Yeah,
the
it's
way
too
I'd be
bad.
like,
Mwah. Yeah. But I was like, let me just make this man's night. So I was being very charitable in that. One thing that was, oh my God, it's honestly hard to talk about. Okay. Something I love about Tequila Cowboy is the karaoke room.
mm.
Oh my God. Okay. So me and Macy, oh, I'm like twiddling because it makes me so anxious. We decided to sing together, I Will Always Love You. We have done that before at Tequila Cowboy. It went over fabulously the first time. this time they call our name and we go up and we start singing the mics, and we're like, if I
That song's a
should
commitment
stay.
too, because it's like 5 minutes long.
Yeah, I know. Well, so we didn't realize that immediately. We got booed. We were actually getting booed, and we were booed so badly, and the reaction was so horrible from the crowd. We actually had to leave the stage. So yeah, I got booed off the stage at karaoke.
At Tequila Cow.
At Tequila Cowboy. And at first I was like, oh, it's because there's so many Tennessee people in the room, babe. We had no pit stuff on. I had a cowboy hat. If anything, I would be from Tennessee. So why did you boo me off the stage? But it was Macy literally in the mic said, "This is really bad. I want to leave." Like, what the hell? Like, fully in the mic said that.
What the hell?
What the hell? Sorry. Chloe was going off.
Chloe
said, "You haven't touched me in 12 hours," and I'm getting sad. Anyway,
So pick
yeah,
me.
so
Choose
I'm never
me.
gonna be able to go to karaoke again at Tequila Cowboy.
And that might be for the best.
Probably is, because usually you have to wait like a fucking hour for your song to play.
Oh yeah.
Also, so
We had to wait a really long time. The one time I've done karaoke there, and it was like a Sunday night. We were there
what the hell? No,
for someone's
literally.
birthday, and like there was nobody
so
in there,
weird.
but like we still had to wait a really long time. And I'm like, girl, I just want to sing "Better Than Revenge" by Taylor Swift, and then
I've sang that there one time. So good.
was it "Better Than Revenge" or I think it was something like that. Or no, actually, it was actually "Forever and Always."
Oh, Slay. Okay, Slay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Tequila Cowboy will always be my favorite bar because of how hot and old the people are there. Like perfectly old for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing like an attractive 30-year-old who compliments your cowboy hat to make me go yay. But yeah, that was like my Pittsburgh weekend, and then we went to the porch the next day for lunch as my favorite. I love it. I love the porch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then pretty much I've just been working. Tonight, actually, I went to a birthday dinner for someone, and I drank an espresso martini. And the waitress was literally like, "I love espresso martinis," and I said, "Oh, Slade, do you watch Below Deck?" And she said, "Yeah, I do. I love Below Deck."
Yeah.
And everyone was like, "Why did you ask her that?" I was like, "She loves espresso martinis," so I knew she would. Also, I'm psychic.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They're like, yeah. I've had a couple of espresso martinis over here. Ugh, so good.
They're so good. They're so good.
Oh my God. I've also had some of the best cosmopolitans of my life here.
Really? Have you had a gin and
Yes.
tonic yet?
No, I should.
Yeah, definitely look into that.
Because the drinks are better here. They're also significantly stronger. Like every time.
And probably cheaper. Yeah.
Yes. Well, no, the drinks are like to drink certain things, like to drink beer or wine in Europe. So cheap. No, in Greece, like if you ordered like just like the house wine, you could have like a glass of wine for $3.
But to drink water, they're like, "I will take your first burn."
That's the other. Oh my God, that's the other thing about this.
You're right.
Like I like didn't. So this is actually funny. So I was like, throughout college, Becca can attest, I would carry a water bottle around very consistently.
Yeah. Classic.
My white little hydro flask with all the stickers. And it's actually a big hydro flask. And so it's like beat up. I've had it for a couple of years at this point. And so I'm like, I kind of wanted to get a new one, but I didn't want to like buy a new one. And so I found another hydro flask like in my cabinet at home. And I took it on my trip to DC before I left because I was like, oh, let me like try this out. Did I ever talk about that? I don't think I talked about that on the podcast, did I? Or no, I
don't
did.
think so.
The trip to DC
Yeah.
when I saw Lord.
Oh wait, yeah, you did. Because
Okay,
you
perfect.
Yeah.
So on the trip to DC, I took it with me. Did not make it off the train to DC with me.
Yeah.
I really left it on the train, like coming into DC.
You kind of goofy like that.
And no, I'm the worst with water bottles. Like water bottles are
They will be left.
I could lose 30 of them actually in like record time.
Crazy.
Losing water bottles is one of my hidden talents. That white water bottle is the only one I've been able to keep, and it's because I specifically said I'm buying this with my own money as an incentive to
to not lose it.
to not lose it. Because if it's just out of like my family's water bottle cabinet, you'll never see me again. That's that water bottle.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I didn't bring one because like in Greece and Istanbul, you can't really drink the tap water.
It's no use. Yeah.
Yeah, like the first place I've been, like Prague is like the first place I've been, and then I don't even know, like there's nowhere to like fill them up.
Yeah, no.
So like it does make me feel bad how many like bottles of water I've like bought. Like just plastic.
You have to though.
But
Europe is
like there's no other option.
With their water. No,
literally. I was like, but I'm glad I'm not lugging around like an empty like 40-ounce water bottle.
Yeah.
Just that way. I was like, I don't have a water bottle. But then I'm like,
I
don't really need a reusable water bottle here. Like there's no reason you would need that.
Literally. No, it's crazy the water situation there, but anywho.
Are you watching anything? Like what's the media digest right now?
Me and my mother are still finishing Below Deck Mediterranean. We just finished the season where Hannah gets fired. And I know you are aware of it. And so listen.
What's your verdict? Now I need to know. What's Captain Becca doing in this situation?
So I never was a huge fan of Hannah. But I understand that if there's rules where you can't have that on drugs on a boat like that, then you can't. And even in the reunion, Hannah was like, I admit I made a mistake. Done. If I was Andy Cohen, I would have been like, cool, we don't have to talk about anything else then. Because there's no argument. If you made the mistake of not logging your prescriptions, which she only had for one of the items she had, there's no argument. Like, Sandy's not going to risk being arrested because you have drugs on board that aren't.
You wanted to hit your vape pen.
You fool. No, but like, I don't know. And I'm forgiving usually with people, like, do what you got to do to keep yourself, like, whatever you need to use. But if there's a rule that you have to tell the boat about it, don't not tell the boat. And
they made it sound like it's like a very strict process. Like it's not like.
Oh yeah, it's like if the boat gets seized and there's like anything found on board that's not logged, like the boat is basically taken into custody. The owner gets like in trouble, and then Sandy can like lose her license.
Oh yeah.
Like, duh, Hannah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Duh, Hannah.
Doof. Yeah.
Doof.
But it was really frustrating to watch the reunion and have her like argue. And it's like, girl, if
you're like, take your L.
Mistake, yeah. And go home.
Hold your L.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I mean, I wish her the best in her life. I heard she's a mom now. Shouts out to the mothers.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. On Mother's Day, I do celebrate you. One of you. Shout
out to one very special mother out there.
That's mine. Yeah. So pretty much Below Deck, and that's it. I feel like I don't know even what I even spend my time doing even. Other than that, I mean, I watched a lot of movies. I'll talk about that in my Manic Pixie, my jump scares, but with my AMC subscription.
Oh yeah. Have you seen?
What are you gonna ask?
Did you see Don't Worry, Darling?
Not yet.
Oh my god, I haven't seen it yet.
Plans.
Well, that was something Becca and I will forever be sorry.
Yeah. That
we were not recording during the Don't Worry, Darling press junket.
Like, it's a moment in history in which I can't believe we weren't intertwined with more so, but.
No, Don't Worry, Darling at the Venice Film Festival is like one of the most significant pop cultural events of like,
Literally.
maybe not significant because now it's like kind of like, who cares?
Yeah.
It kind of left the zeitgeist pretty quickly, but like those couple days,
Insane. Twitter was
insane.
so funny.
Oh my God, Twitter was amazing. No, something I will like for some reason in like the past, like for the past like month and a half, I've just been so grateful for Twitter. Like,
I know, literally.
whenever somebody talks ill of Twitter, I'm like, you better not.
You're not following the right people. You aren't using it correctly.
No, yeah, no. Oh, now that I have Twitter circles.
Oh, really? Whole new thing.
My Twitter circles is
Bustin'. The fact that we brought up "Don't Worry, Darling" before the Queen dying is shows a lot about who we are. Yeah. And I will. I know I posted
another
this
amazing day on Twitter.
Literally when the Queen died. And I will say I did tweet, and I will share it to the listeners, that I texted my dad and said, "How are you dealing with the news of the Queen dying?" And he said, "Did something happen to Elton John?" And he's right.
He's right about that.
He's right about that.
Also, I don't know. Also, the Queen dying, I thought that was going to be a bigger deal.
They say it will be one day. To me, I don't know. I don't get the hype, I guess.
No, because everybody was like, I remember people talking about it, and they were like, oh, there's going to be like a national like mourning, like things are going to be closed, like the UK is going to be like shuttered, and it's like, I don't think that happened.
No.
Maybe it's just because I've just been on like a trip the whole time, but like
I don't really think it did though. If
Yeah.
anything, the UK has been doing like some Irish step dancing.
The Irish people. Oh my God. Did you see the one thing of like the people at the football game being like, Lizzie's in a box?
Yeah. Crazy.
My people.
My people. Do I stand by you? Yeah.
Yeah. As a person of the Irish diaspora.
Oh my God.
I dead saw somebody use that term like in internet comments. He said, as a member of the Irish diaspora. I'm like, so I don't think we have one of those actually.
So be fucking for real.
Where have Irish people been transported to against their will that would cause a diasporic effect?
Literally, diasporic effect.
All y'all are literally on your own little fucking island over there.
We see you.
We see you. We see each other.
Yeah. We see each other. Sorry.
I did hear an Irish person talking about I overheard an Irish person, like an actual Irish person, talking about Boston one time. He's like, it's so interesting because they like think they're Irish.
They believe so.
They believe that they're it's very Italian. Yeah. It's talking about like Italian Americans.
It's so goofy of them.
Like, it's so funny how they think they're like a part of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think Becca and I are going to throw to another little break, and then we'll be back to do our little segments.
Yay!
And we're back.
Oh wow, nice. Okay. Well, guys. Oh,
guys.
You gasped. Okay. Guys.
No, that just reminded me. So when I laid down to go to bed about 3 hours ago. Okay, guys. Also, Becca and I need to take a minute to recognize our commitment to the podcast because it is 11 p.m. for Becca right now.
It is 12.
Or no, it is 12. Oh, fuck. Shit. It is past midnight for Becca. And it is 6 in the morning for me.
Yeah.
And we've been recording for about an hour and a half at this point.
So guys, think about that.
In case anyone ever questions Becca or I's commitment to this project.
Rethink.
Which I don't think anybody is, but I'm putting y'all on watch.
But guys, to round off the podcast, as we do every single week with every single episode, we have to do our Manic Pixie and jump scares. So, a Manic Pixie moment. Wait, sorry. I forgot. A a jump scare is something that is scary because, we start with the negative, we move on to the positive because we do like to leave on a high note. But a jump scare is anything, particularly scary, terrifying, upsetting, and or so bad it makes you maybe make your stomach churn or your fingers shake or your eyeballs go back and forth left to right. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. So, Quinn, I will ask you, in your past 3 weeks, what is something that has been a jump scare for you?
I thought of a random story and then I remembered something that was way more of a jump scare, even though it's like less exciting. So I'm going to go with the one that was more of a jump scare. So while I was in Istanbul,
Okay.
I was like the queen of public transit. I was riding because Istanbul, their public transit is so good. It's like the thing I can compare it to is New York, but it's like better. They're like trams, subways, buses, like all of it.
Wow.
And so I was like riding the public transit around Istanbul. And so I was like, oh, I love it, love it, love it. So if you don't know, Istanbul is actually like it stretches across Europe and Asia technically. And so like, there's like a European side of Istanbul and then there's an Asian side of Istanbul. And so technically I have been to Asia now because on like my second to last day, I crossed over into the Asian side and I like went over there in the evening and I did a cooking class earlier in the day. So like if I was going to get hungry, I was going to get dinner there. And then there was like a park there that I read about that I like ended up watching the sunset and it was beautiful. So I took a ferry over there, which was fine. It's like a quick little ferry ride. And then I walked and it was really cool. The neighborhood I was in was called Moda. And it was definitely like a younger, if I ever went back to Istanbul, I would definitely stay there because it had kind of like a younger, more like hip vibe a little bit. It felt like walking through like Brooklyn or something like New York or somewhere like that. So yeah, so I watched the sunset in this park. I did some shopping after that. Something about Europe also, retailers here. Can we talk about, did you experience this in Spain, how retailers are literally open until like midnight?
I feel like everything's open so late in Europe.
Yes, everything is open so late here, except for like convenience stores.
Yeah, of course.
Or like pharmacies or anything like that. It's like, and so, but yeah, so I did some shopping and it's like dark at this point. And so it's around like 8:30 and I'm like tired. And so the other thing, like travel is truly exhausting. Like, especially while I've been in like the Czechia, which is where I am right now. I've been like exhausted the whole time. I've been trying to take it easy because it's like, it's tiring is what people don't tell you about it. And so I'm tired. I want to go home. And so and so I think I got mixed answers on whether the ferries run after it's dark. And so I used like Google Maps public transit feature to kind of help me out and stuff. And so I was like, okay, it said the best way to get there was like a bus. It was going to be like an hour to get home by bus, it said. But I was like, okay, well, that's just what it's going to be. And so then I go and wait at the bus stop. It tells me to wait at. I'm standing at the bus stop. I wait there for like 30 minutes. It's telling me there's this bus that will take me right to, I stayed in this place called Taksim, which is like the center of like New Istanbul. It's like kind of like Times Square of Istanbul. And I was staying kind of around there. And so I was like, okay. I wait for like 30, 40 minutes. And this bus that it told me to get on just clearly like doesn't exist because I have not seen it once. And I've seen like pretty much the whole rest of the bus schedule go by in that time.
Yeah. SpongeBob as fuck.
Literally. And so I like get a different route to come up that like get some transfers. And so I get on one bus and I go. And then I go around and I walk into this one station and I'm like looking, trying to figure it out. And I'm like, oh, does it want me to go to the other station? And so then I leave that station. I go to the one on the other side of the street that I guess would go the other way. Because I don't see the name of the bus that it wants me to get on. And so then I go over And I go in there and then I don't see the name again. And so I'm like, okay. And so then the bus it wants me to get on, I don't think is running at that point because I don't see it anywhere on like the screens or anything. And so I'm like, huh. And so then I get like another new route and then it tells me to go back to that original station I was like just
Oh my
on.
God.
And so then I go back over there. And meanwhile, every time you go into the station, it costs money. Like it's not, you don't pay going on. Sometimes you pay going on like the actual vehicle, but sometimes you pay going into the station.
Oh my God. That
And
would
so I'm
annoy me
paying
so
like
much.
money every time I'm going. So I'm losing a little bit of money here too.
There's some stakes.
And so I get on another bus and it takes me over to this other station. And this is where it really gets fucked up because this station is like you go down in the ground, it's like circular, it's literally like a labyrinth. Like I'm like, and I'm just like, because it's telling me to go somewhere at first, and then I can't find, like it's telling me to catch this bus that I cannot find where it is. I keep seeing signs and I follow the signs and it does not lead to where the bus is picking up. And like the bus never comes. It was truly that episode of SpongeBob vibes.
Yeah.
And so at this point, it's been like an hour and a half since I like decided, okay, I want to go home. It's like 10 o'clock by this point. Anymore. And I'm like,
oh
damn,
God.
I've been doing so well. And now I'm fucking stranded. Oh my God. And then I eventually like found my way. I was like, oh. I eventually found my way back to the subway and I like knew which subway stop I got off at. And I was like, hallelujah. And then once I got back, I was just like, I was like zombie walking to like because it sucked because even once I got back to the station, it was still like a 10-minute walk back to my hostel, like from the station. And I was like,
no peace.
But no I will never know peace. No. And then, and then of course, like the last time I rode the subway, like on my last day, I found out that one of like the places you can exit is like significantly closer to the hostel I was staying at. It was like, it saved me like a 5 to 7 minute walk.
Yeah. That's just how it goes, huh?
And I was like, this is just how it goes, you know?
Public transportation.
Yeah. So I thought I was the queen of Istanbul public transit. And that night I was actually the court jester.
You were humbled quite literally.
No, literally, I was like, I just want to be home. But anyway.
Bleak.
Wow. Also, another mini jump scare I had a couple hours ago, actually, when I laid my head down to go to sleep real quick. I was like, I randomly just heard a baby start crying.
Who is that?
So I think there's a baby in this hotel with me, but I don't know. But anyway, I was like, is that a baby?
Who has a baby?
But yeah. Anyway, Becca, what is something that is just terrifying you?
Well, so as I hinted at, both of mine are movies, my moments. But my jump scare one is that I do fear I will be really annoying, even more so than before, because I did see Pearl.
I've been reading a lot about this.
It was my Joker. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. The monologue where she says, "What I do? I thought you liked me. I thought you liked me." It's just in her fucking crazy eyes when she says it. I just see so much of myself in her. What did I do wrong?
Can you explain this movie to me a little bit more?
It's the prequel to the movie X. It's
what?
Basically the movie X, just the letter X. Which
Not
X
familiar.
was okay. It's another really good movie. But X was like set in the 70s. This group of people is filming like a porno at a farm. Chaos ensues because the farm owners are crazy. Well, Pearl is a sequel to prequel because it's about the farm owner girl, who basically, this isn't giving anything away. It's very clear from the trailer. She comes to murder a lot of those around her and be a crazy girl. But
good for her.
Yeah, exactly. And I honestly don't think she ever did anything wrong. Like
I said, I'm still trying to find her transgressions.
Because to me, they aren't clear. But yeah, I do love her. And The movie was very, very well done. And so any movie with just the most particular aesthetic that I haven't really seen before, I'm like, oh,
They're doing
that
their
is
own
beautiful.
thing.
Exactly. I'm like, that is gorgeous. Greener Grass is one of my favorite movies because the aesthetic of it is so unique and particular.
Twilight.
Unique and particular.
No, riding the train
Twilight.
into
Twilight, New Moon, unique and particular. Twilight Eclipse, unique and particular. Twilight Breaking Dawn, unique and particular. Go ahead.
No,
Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 2, unique and particular. I had to finish.
Of course. No, of course. I let you finish. I'm gonna let you
Thank
finish.
I'm gonna let you finish. Thank
No,
you.
riding into the station today. Okay, first of all, another thing that was is between Istanbul and Prague. It's hard because they use Celsius over here, and so whenever I talk to like locals about it, I'm like, I don't know how to describe it to you actually.
Can't even do it.
But when I was in Istanbul, like the first couple of days, fully like 90 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh wow.
And then one day the clouds came over and it rained a little bit. And after that, it was so cool and
It's
like
been so
fall
cold
vibes.
here lately. Yeah, it happened instantaneously.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was literally like a little batch of clouds passed over and suddenly it was fall in Istanbul. Like it was crazy actually.
Yeah.
And so it was beautiful. Like it was like 70 degrees in Istanbul. Perfect actually. And then I got into Prague the other night. Oh, it's chilly willy.
Really?
It's like 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
OMG.
I don't know how to explain that to the Europeans.
You're like, no, you guys don't get it.
You just don't get it. Yeah.
Wow.
No, but riding the train in today, this is why I want to say this. Riding the train in today because it was fall and it was foggy. It felt very blue. It felt very Twilight.
Twilight. Yeah, love it. I know. I love describing things as Twilight weather. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, so everyone go see Pearl. So good. Mia Goth, I think, is a genius. I love her. Love her lots. But yeah. So with that being said, the jump is out of the way. Now it's time to manic. So, of course, our manic pixie moments are anything particularly slay, wonderful, gorgeous, beautiful, life-changing, groundbreaking, never been done before, plane, club, another club, bus, no sleep. So, Quinn, what was that moment for you?
Shout out to Lady Gaga because the shirt I traveled in was literally my Chromatica merch. And so like that's the reason it's in so many of my Greece pictures because that was the only shirt I had for a couple days.
So long.
Yeah, for so long. And so anyway, my manic pixie moment probably since I've been here was after that cooking class I talked about in the first segment. We rode a bus back to our hotel and for some reason there was a microphone in the bus. And so like you could like talk and it would like, you know, project out to the whole bus. And we were talking to our tour guide and we were like, can you like sing us a song? I don't even know how this came up. But people were like, can you like sing us a song? And so she was like, oh no. And then she like sang us a song in Greek. And it was really fun. Also at this little mini manic pixie moment at the cooking class, we were talking about how much olive oil we used in like in the course of the cooking class. And then I'd said like, I forget what I said. I was like, we are Greek. We have to use I can't do the accent now because I haven't been in Greece for like 2 weeks now. Like,
yeah,
I was like, I felt very lived in the accent. And I said it like in a perfect Greek accent. It's like, it's Greece. You have to use olive oil. And my tour guide literally from the other side of the table, she was like, that was very good.
Little recognition there.
I was like Kelly Trumbull. She taught me everything I knew. Anyway. So so we're driving back. She sings us a song and then they're like, guys, let's keep the karaoke going. Who wants to go next? And so.
Wow.
I'm like, clear the fucking floor. And so then of course I take the stage. I forget what song I did first. I don't know, but suddenly I became the DJ for karaoke. Like I was just taking people through. Oh, I sang because it was after we had
acapella.
Yes, fully a cappella.
Okay,
It was
love
after we had
that.
sang, it was after we had done like the whole ferry thing, and I kept making jokes
Mhm.
about the Titanic on the ferry because, guys, I cannot describe to you how big this boat was. Like it was fully like a cruise ship.
Wow.
Like it was a cruise ship that they just is like a passenger ferry. Like it's crazy
Just let
actually.
people on.
No,
Wow.
literally. And
Near, far, wherever
wherever you are. Oh my God, that was so out of tune on
I
my part.
believe that the heart will go on.
No, and so I started singing that, and like something, like it was so funny because I did like a radio edit where I like cut the whole second verse out because really just wanted to sing the bridge.
It's a long ass song too. Yeah.
You're here, there's nothing. Yeah, and so then I became like VJ, and
Oh,
so I
so good.
started just like doing all like songs everybody. I tried to keep doing songs everybody knew. Oh my God, I failed terribly because we did like Wannabe, and so I was like, and like I don't know the words to Wannabe like as well as I should.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I was confident I knew the rhythm well enough to do Mel B's
Mhm.
rap
Okay, slay.
because I was like, oh, I know like the cadence of it, and so I can like do
Mhm.
it, and so I go, so he's a story from A to B. You wanna, and then I fully just butcher it. I
I
yeah
don't really know the words either, to be honest.
yeah no I fully no the whole song Wannabe, like I just don't.
Yeah.
I feel like I should know the words like just so much better than I do, but it's just one of those things I've
It's
just
okay.
never.
It's okay, babe.
I do so badly want to be like a Spice Girls expert though.
Yeah. They were
I
kind of
feel
the
like
moment.
I feel like the Spice Girls are such a cool thing to be a fan of. Maybe it's just my Anglophile-ness, but
Could be.
yeah.
Could be.
And now Drag Race UK is back on. Like,
Oh wow.
I'm sorry
You're
for the
in
person
it.
I will become. No, I'm going to the UK, I'm pretty sure. Like the North.
Ooh, ee! Yippee doo. Oh my god.
Am I gonna go to Liverpool?
Liverpool.
Liverpool, Manchester, Birmingham.
Manchester.
Oh my God.
Perfect.
Anyway. Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's my Manic Pixie
Fun.
moment. I was giving, and
Love
everybody was
that.
like, oh my God, Quinn. And I was like, little do they know, I'm a trained vocalist. I might not sound like it, but
I mean, as someone who has gone through tough karaoke experiences, I'm really happy for you.
Karaoke is so
And-
fun. I need to like do it more as like a thing. Although it is really bad because I just be doing whatever and it's not good for my voice. But anyway.
Don't give a care. Yeah.
Becca, what is your Manic Pixie moment?
So, again, a movie I saw.
Mm-hmm.
I am obsessed with horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Barbarian, which has Bill Skarsgård in it and some girl. This film,
Some woman.
some girl who I don't know.
I heard it was very good.
It was so good.
I saw an ad for it when I went to see Nope.
It was literally fantastic.
Mhm.
And I did also post a TikTok that it's literally the audio. Daddy always protects his Ruby fucking baby girl. You will go in not understanding how it connects to that film. You will leave thinking I'm a genius. Trust me. Also a little mini manic pixie moment. Clueless is back on Netflix. I have watched it today, yesterday, and the day before. I love it. It's my favorite movie, I think.
Can I tell you? Can I admit?
No way.
Can I admit?
You haven't seen it?
No.
What the fuck? What the fuck? How?
I'm not a movie person. I'm just not.
That's crazy.
There are so many movies like I know I should. Like it's like Devil Wears Prada. It's like
wow. I think you
But it is no, I should watch more movies because now it's nice to be like in on things. Like when I see something about Devil Wears Prada, like I'm in on it.
yeah, you get it.
And like Clueless, I feel like I know like a lot. Like Clueless, I feel like it becomes a thing where it's like Clueless, like I feel like I've seen the movie without like seeing the movie, you know?
Right.
Because it is such like a zeitgeist moment. But then like, do you ever have a moment when you're watching the movie being like, wow, I'm actually watching it? Like if that makes sense.
No, I got that. Yeah.
Like because you're like, oh, like when I was watching Devil Wears Prada, I'm like, oh, this is like actually what it is.
Yeah, especially if you hear so much about it before. Yeah, for
Yes,
sure.
yeah. You're like, oh, this is actually like what the thing is. Like, I think that's an interesting process that I've been like more aware of recently. Like,
Maybe
oh, I'm
that's
actually watching it.
yeah, it's happening. Maybe that's how I feel about Star Wars if I ever do watch it.
Yeah. Oh my
I
God.
don't know though.
I was thinking about it because I watched the premiere of Survivor last night, and I was thinking about because Survivor had the premiere of season 43 this week,
Whoa.
US Survivor. And I was thinking
Oh
about,
my dear
I
God.
randomly thought about because I started watching season 26 and I like
hmm
binge watched the whole thing before it was on like any streaming services. Um,
Yeah.
and I was like, wow, soon it'll be, well, now it's fully been like, I've been watching Survivor 10 years. And it's like crazy to think that I've been doing anything for 10 years, but like I've fully been
Yeah, oh
watching
my
that show for
God.
10 years. And
Damn.
like I also had the thought that's like, oh, soon it will have been that I've watched more seasons like live as they were airing
Whoa.
than I
Then you
had
did
like,
originally.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a
That's
weird.
insane that the show
Mm-hmm.
is yeah. Anyway. Wow.
Yeah, now I'm like, how could anybody like, I know people still do like watch the whole
Like how could
thing.
you catch up though?
Oh, no, I don't know. Cause like I literally,
Yeah.
because I've thought about it, because I've thought about like I go through phases where I'm like, oh, I really just want to rewatch Survivor. And I'm like, but how could I? Like, I feel like I missed my only opportunity to ever do that during like the
Yeah.
pandemic. And now it's just
Yeah.
like, I will never have time
Never have that an
for you,
amount of time.
especially because like you think like, because like if you only watch Survivor, then you'll miss out on so many other things. But like you kind of have to only watch Survivor if you want to make it through all 43
Yeah.
fucking seasons.
Within like a year.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
hmm Yeah. Holy shit. Wow.
But anyway.
Wow.
But yeah, that is our episode. Becca and I are
God.
back from our little recording hiatus. And so,
Yay.
yeah, we're going to keep trying to bring you guys stuff
Mm-hmm.
while
Thanks.
I'm over here in
Mhm.
Europa. And so,
Awesome.
yeah. But we hope you guys like the Stanless deep dives. YouTube besties, y'all really came out for the Julia Fox one. It was crazy.
Yeah, loves it. Thank
That
you.
did some numbers on YouTube.
Mhm.
But our
Definitely.
YouTube fans, a silent little majority in our community.
Yeah, literally. They stay
Because
strong. They're consistent.
because y'all be watching, y'all don't say shit about this show to us though.
No comments.
No comments, no likes, no nothing. But y'all are running the views up every week.
Interesting. It almost makes me believe you don't have a YouTube account.
Oh, maybe
So
that
consider.
maybe that is it.
Consider.
But yeah, guys, engage with us. But anyway, that's a
Yeah.
really good segue into Becca.
Mhm.
Where can people actually follow you if they want to like keep up with you, which they should?
Oh yeah. They can follow me on Instagram at Becca Hobart, Twitter Bex Gloss, and TikTok where I grow during World War III. They can also find me being the first female owner of Kittens, Cats, and Claws. The first store for miniature litter boxes. So Quinn.
One thing I'm always thinking when I clean out my cat's litter box is just, damn, does he need all this space?
Why is it so fucking big?
I'm like drowning in this.
It's too much litter. Yeah, so I'm there to cater to you. Quinn, where can the people keep up with you as an individual?
Oh my God. You can find me at Quinn P. Murphy on both Instagram and TikTok, and at Quinn P. Murphy _ on Twitter. You can also find me being a silent investor in Kittens, Cats, and Claws, the first ever store to sell a mini litter box. Also, the first ever store to sell cat specific scarves because the curvature of a cat's neck is actually very special and unlike any other mammal. And so you need to be able to make an ergonomically correct scarf for it. And that's something that Becca will only understand and will only come to through her own personal research. And I will be there to support her in her endeavor and maybe even put some money behind it.
Thank you so much for that.
All the millions and thousands and billions of dollars we're making off of this podcast will help to fuel what's going on with Kittens, Cats, and Claws. And so, yeah.
Thanks.
And speaking of, Becca, where can people follow the show if they are so inclined?
Oh, yeah. Okay. They can follow Manic Pixie Jump Scare on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, actually, where we do post the podcast at large. Guys.
Well, stop, guys.
I don't know, guys. Oh my God. I don't know why I just got so giggly all of a sudden. But anyway, guys, please comment on the YouTube videos. And also there's like exclusive content there usually. And then, you know, we're sitting on some comment corners to use, but please send us in more because we honestly could not have enough.
Yeah, literally.
We don't have enough. So
Becca and I are like, we're AFK for 3 weeks. We're gonna come back to a booming inbox. Y'all, it's dry in there.
It's dry.
All right, let me try. That's our inbox right now, actually.
Yes, I'm alive. But guess what?
No, Chromatica Ball. Have you seen the video of in Miami when the concert had to be canceled because of the thunder? And lightning, and then they were literally singing "Rain on Me," and then there's just this huge thunder clap, and everybody's like, "Oh,
like damn, maybe we can't manifest clear skies."
Literally.
But we can though, so that was stupid of me to say. But anyway, well, I suppose till freaking next time.
Yes. We're Quinn.
And
we're
Becca.
And thank you for listening.
Bye.
Manic Pixie Jump Scare is hosted by Quinn Murphy
And Becca Hobart. Executive produced by Quinn Murphy and Becca Hobart.
Sound and video editing by Quinn Murphy.
Social media management and highlights by Becca Hobart.
And our theme song was written by Quinn Murphy, Becca Hobart, and Nandita Mahesh.